Gothic architecture and Gothic literature share a word, not a bloodstream. One grew out of a Renaissance insult, the other out of a publishing stunt. If you've ever called a church creepy because it's Gothic, or assumed a Gothic novel must involve flying buttresses, you've mixed two very different stories. Here's the map. First, how Gothic turned into the label for medieval cathedrals. Then, how Horace Walpole hijacked the word for fiction. Finally, why your mental image of a haunted house is probably Victorian, not medieval. Start at the source. Gothic came from the Goths, a Germanic people the Romans branded as barbarians. Renaissance humanists picked up that sneer. Giorgio Vasari looked at the ornate northern churches and called the style barbarous, the German manner that wrecked classical harmony. Medieval builders never said we're building Gothic. They called it opus franciginum, French work. Pointed arches, ribbed vaults, flying buttresses. That's a technical system for height and light, not a mood board for Halloween. Then, the reversal. By the 18th century, British antiquarians started praising the Middle Ages as a cradle of liberty and craftsmanship. Cue the Gothic revival. A.W.N. Pugin and Company rebuild Britain's Houses of Parliament after the 1834 fire in a medieval quay. The former insult becomes patriotic gold. In architecture, Gothic now means a structural language. Pointed arch, vertical thrust, tracery, not an automatic chill down your spine. So where does the shiver come from? Literature? Horace Walpole builds himself a fake medieval villa, Strawberry Hill, and in 1764 publishes The Castle of Otranto. He slaps on the subtitle A Gothic Story and announces he's trying to blend the two kinds of romance, the ancient and the modern. Translation: I'm borrowing the medieval backdrop, castles, armor, curses, and mixing it with contemporary character feeling. Readers loved it. Then came Anne Radcliffe with sublime landscapes and explained hauntings, Matthew Lewis with gleeful monstrosity, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Poe's claustrophobic minds, Stoker's Dracula. The settings vary: ruins, monasteries, London streets, but the atmosphere sticks: dread, secrecy, the past pressing on the present. Notice the split. Architectural Gothic describes how a building stands. Literary Gothic describes how a story feels. The overlap, castles, cloisters, corridors, comes from writers rating medieval scenery to stage fear and wonder. The cathedrals weren't built to be scary. Novelists discovered they could be. Hollywood keeps the spikes and shadows because they read instantly as ominous. Medieval cathedrals were about stained light and engineering bravura. The bat infestation is strictly a modern imagination. The word kept traveling. Gothic names the extinct East Germanic language for which Bishop Ulfilas translated the Bible in the 4th century. Humanists used Gothic to sneer at black-letter script, the dense, angular writing in medieval books, because it wasn't classical Roman type. Printers later reused Gothic for plain sans serif letters, and in East Asia that name stuck for sans serifs. And in 1930, Grant Wood titles his painting American Gothic because of a farmhouse window with a pointed arch. That stare isn't medieval, it's Midwestern irony. Back to the core question: what is Gothic? In architecture, it's a medieval technique